Crypto did take a hit after Trump posted on social media about raising tariffs on China again. Most are down 10 to 15% in the past week, rebounded a little bit. And I would say, Daniel, use this as a buying opportunity to buy the larger cryptos. And Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solana, I think just got some ETFs approved on Friday, which means more money that institutions could offer, right? So institutions could say, okay, now that we, just like BlackRock, here's our ETF. Now you can get into it and then they're going to buy more Bitcoin, more Ethereum, more Solana. I think those are great buys on a little bit of this pullback, only because the massive demand that we're seeing, which you highlighted, Daniel, which is Morgan Stanley, right, allows all their investors now to invest in crypto. If you want to know why everyone's getting into crypto, look at BlackRock with their ETFs. It's now at $100 billion. If you want to look at Robinhood and what they reported in the second quarter of 2025, okay, assets, total platform assets grew 100% to $279 billion. These are brand new markets, right? These are brand new markets for these companies that have growth that it's not as easy to get that growth unless you have a good economy, investment bank, whatever. But now you're seeing a total different asset class that people want.
What was the number on BlackRock for crypto?
For BlackRock is $100 billion.
And 2 years ago, it would have been
they just got
zero.
Approved. Zero.
That's my point.
Right?
That's my point.
Zero. Not even
it's
2
that
years,
fast,
right? Yeah, I think they might be.
I don't want to get you off track. It doesn't matter.
But
the point was this didn't exist a couple years ago for them.
Look at Robinhood. Net revenue increasing 45% year over year to $1 billion. Diluted earnings rising 100%. A significant customer and asset growth, including $13.8 billion in net deposits and a record 3.5 million Robinhood Gold subscribers. If you want to know why they're getting into this, this is why. And I put up this really quick.
Oh, for allocation?
Yeah, for allocation where with Morgan Stanley. So Morgan Stanley came out with this allocation now, and I have it someplace. Give me a second here.
Spoiler alert, they're raising their allocation.
They're raising their allocation, saying that you should have a 4% allocation into crypto. A 4% allocation. I pulled a note. I took a picture of the note that they have, which is really cool. And a 4% allocation that they were promised. So they want 4% allocation. Just to put that in perspective, we have 100 trillion, probably about 110 trillion assets under management. And BlackRock was talking about a 2%, which is, 2 trillion, a little over 2 trillion, which is what? What's Bitcoin's market cap is what? 2.5 trillion? Now you're looking at companies saying, no, not 2%, 4%, maybe 5%, 15% allocation to gold here. I mean, the allocations are huge where the growth is massive. And what is it going to mean for Bitcoin? What is it going to mean for Solana? What is it going to mean for Ethereum? Just this constant buying, especially of Bitcoin, which is limited, and there's not a lot of supply in the market, not just from the halving, which cuts supply growth in half every 4 years, but just the massive demand compared to the supply that's available is not even there. And a lot of people who own Bitcoin are just religious to be like, I'm owning it forever. I don't care. It's like gold. It's like gold bugs. I'm owning gold no matter what. They're holding it no matter what. So, when you're looking at crypto, you're going to have these ups and downs. And we saw a nice correction, especially in a lot of the alt names. Like some of them went down 20%.
One happening massive. Right now, Bitcoin's down 3%.
But a lot of that is probably going to be used as a buying opportunity. I think it's a great buying opportunity because you're just going to see this massive demand continue. Remember the record profits. We saw Morgan Stanley was seeing at Goldman Sachs across the board at the banks. A lot of that, when you're seeing that money coming in, is going to new ideas, especially within crypto. It's more money in the asset management. Stocks are all-time highs. They're taking an allocation of stocks and they're pouring into Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solana. We saw a nice move in these already. Now they're pulling back. Maybe wait a little bit, right? But these are good. If you're going to hold stuff for over a year, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, you want to be buying on this pullback, just like we told you to buy Bloom Energy on the pullback, which is one of our free stocks that we gave away at our live event, only because it got downgraded and it was 87 or something, 86, and it went down 15% from a downgrade on valuation. And I'm like, never, ever, if anyone downgrades anything on valuation, just buy it immediately. It's the worst thing you could do. First of all, valuation is so arbitrary where it's like, it's hard to determine the valuation when you're looking at companies like a Bloom Energy or Oklo that are going to have massive scalability within their technologies later on. It's kind of like saying Microsoft is overvalued like 15, 20 years ago, right? When it had a $300 million market cap and now it's 4 trillion, I think Microsoft hit 4 trillion. I think NVIDIA's 4.5 trillion now. Yeah, when you see valuation concerns, it's kind of like, especially when a stock that has momentum, now that, Bloom Energy just signed a $5 billion, was it Brookfield Asset Management to distribute a lot of their technology, which is great, right? So this is a company that's just in the middle of this amazing trend, massive spending, dire need for energy, which I don't know how we're going to get to power this next wave of AI, which is clearly, you're seeing it within the banks, right? You're seeing it within the banks. You're going to start seeing it within a lot of these industries, especially S&P 500 companies have a lot of money to pay for this stuff. As agentic AI and you have these bots, that's the next generation, which require a lot of power. And you're going to see these names continue to go higher and higher and higher, which is good. But crypto itself, I think, again, this is another buying opportunity like what we saw at Bloom Energy. And again, we're not diehard automatic permables. The money's there, the capex is there, the funding is there. I think those are great buys on a little bit of this pullback, only because the massive demand that we're seeing